chapter 27. Let me just move this so that I can actually see the words properly. 1 second. So I guess we're continuing this today. We just finished reading chapter 26, which was the proclamation against Tyre. And this chapter also is one long passage with a lamentation in the middle, which is it ended the end in the form of like poetry almost. And it is also the entire chapter is titled, just one title, and it is Lamentation for Tyre. So Ezekiel chapter 27, Lamentation for Tyre. The word of the Lord came again to me, saying, Now, son of man, take up a lamentation for Tyre, and say to Tyre, You who are situated at the entrance of the sea, merchant of the peoples on many coastlands, thus says the Lord God, O Tyre, you have said, I am perfect in beauty. Your borders are in the midst of the seas. Your builders have perfected your beauty. They made all your planks of fir trees from Senir. They took a cedar from Lebanon to make you a mast. Of oaks from Bashan they made your oars. The company of Asherites have inlaid your planks with ivory from the coasts of Cyprus. Fine embroidered linen from Egypt was what you spread for your sail. Blue and purple from the coasts of Elisha was what covered you. Inhabitants of Sidon and Arvad were your oarsmen. Your wise men, O Tyre, were in you. They became your pilots. Elders of Gebal and its wise men were in you to caulk your seams. All the ships of the sea and their oarsmen were in you to market your merchandise. Those from Persia, Lydia, and Libya were in your army as men of war. They hung shield and helmet in you, and they gave splendor to you. Men of Arvad were your army. With your army were on your walls all around, and the men of Gamad were in your towers. They hung their shields on your walls all around. They made your beauty perfect. Tarshish was your merchant because of your many luxury goods. They gave you silver, iron, tin, and lead for your goods. Javan, Tubal, and Meshech were your traders. They bartered human lives and vessels of bronze for your merchandise. Those from the house of Togarma traded for your wares with horses, steeds, and mules. The men of Dedan were your traders. Many isles were the market of your hand. They brought you ivory tusks and ebony as payment. Syria was your merchant because of the abundance of goods you made. They gave you for your wares emeralds, purple, embroidery, fine linen, corals, and rubies. Judah and the land of Israel were your traders. They traded for your merchandise wheat of millet, honey, oil, and balm. Damascus was your merchant because of the abundance of goods you made, because of your many luxury items, with the wine of Helbon and with white wool. Dan and Javan paid for your wares, traversing back and forth. Wrought iron, cassia, and cane were among your merchandise. Dedan was your merchant in saddlecloths for riding. Arabia and all the princes of Kedar were your regular merchants. They traded with you in lambs, rams, and goats. The merchants of Sheba and Ramah were your merchants. They traded for your wares, the choicest spices, all kinds of precious stones and gold. Haran, Canaan, Eden, the merchants of Sheba, Assyria, and Shilmad were your merchants. These were your merchants in choice, in purple clothes, in embroidered garments, in chests of multicolored apparel, in study-woven cords which were in your marketplace. The ships of Tarshish were carriers of your merchandise. You were filled with very glorious in the midst of the seas. Your oarsmen brought you into many waters, but the east wind broke you in the midst of the seas. Your riches, wares, and merchandise, your mariners and pilots, your caulkers and merchandisers, all your men of war who are in you, and the entire company which is in your midst, will fall into the midst of the sea on the day of your ruin. The common land will shake at the sound of the cry of your pilots. All who handle the oar, the mariners, all the pilots of the sea, will come down from their ships and stand on the shore. They will make their voice heard because of you. They will cry bitterly and cast dust on their heads. They will roll about in ashes. They will shave themselves completely bald because of you, gird themselves in sackcloth, and weep for you with bitterness of heart and bitter wailing. In their wailing for you, they will take up a lamentation and lament for you. What city is like Tyre, destroyed in the midst of the sea? When your waves ran out by the sea, you satisfied many people, you enriched the kings of the earth with many luxury goods and your merchandise. But you were broken by the seas in the depths of the waters. Your merchandise and the entire company will fall in your midst. All the inhabitants of the isles will be astonished at you. Their kings will be greatly afraid, and their countenance will be troubled. The merchants among the peoples will hiss at you. You will become a horror and be no more forever. This is kind of strange because I'm reading this and all this stuff about the sea, and it has nothing to do with, I mean, there is no correlation really, but I'm talking about a modern day situation. I don't know if you guys have heard, there has been this massive cyclone that has flooded Sri Lanka and Indonesia and a few countries nearby, and the death tolls or missing persons tolls have gone up to like 1,000 or something of that sort. And I was just seeing some videos of it, and it was like the land was massively, completely covered in water. Um, and yeah, there's not a lot of news coming back from there right now, though a lot of people have been saying that there's no, you know, phone connection, like no access to internet and all kinds of things like that at this time. And it's just, there isn't any correlation. Obviously, this is not a prophecy about that, about what's happening right now in Sri Lanka or anything like that. But it's just the mention of all of these things in the sea and the ships and water just kind of reminded me of that. But I do want to, like, as I was mentioning in the previous reading of the chapter 26 of Ezekiel, um, I do want to go and look up on Tyre and see where that would have been in modern day and the history of it. Sounds pretty interesting based on all of the goods that they have traded. To be honest, it kind of does remind me of Sri Lanka in a little bit, just because there's a vast amount of natural resources in Sri Lanka. In like acacia is one of those things. Actually, it's cinnamon down in Sri Lanka, not acacia, but acacia wood, um, and all these things that being mentioned. It just kind of reminded me of that for some reason. So, in any case, hi Ashley Rose. What's happening? Oh, we're reading the book of Ezekiel, and one second, I just want to. Yeah. Yeah, we're reading the book of Ezekiel, chapter 27 right now. Anyhow, I will be back with chapter 28. God bless you. Have a good evening. Bye now.